Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to the Locker Room on Indie Live, Radio On and Independence Live. My name is Michael McTune, and I'm joined by the one and only Ugly Siska. No, that's not very nice. Mr. Graham Duffy. How is it going, Graham?
I'm all right. I've been called worse than that, so I'll take that.
Yeah, well, I couldn't call you any worse on air, but I'll call you after the show. And we are delighted to be joined by. I was thinking this is your first time on the show, but no, you've done before. But we've actually signed him this time. He's actually on a 5-year deal. It's Greg Playfair. Hello.
Hello, Mike. Thanks for that debut after that trial. A few watching Hearts, given the reaction. It was an up and down European campaign, but I'm hoping for a strong day with you guys moving forward.
Cool, nice one. So you're here until 6 o'clock, and we've got a sub coming on. We've got Mr. Reagan Stevens coming on. He's on his exercise bike as we speak, so he'll be here at 6 o'clock. You go to the Hearts game tonight, the Hearts at Motherwell game. A decent game to look forward to. We'll speak about that during the next hour or so. So you know what to do by now. You can comment on YouTube, on Facebook Live. We're on here until 7 o'clock. And just in case you forget that, we're on all weekend, Graham. We're on tonight, tomorrow night, Sunday night, Monday night. I'm on okay. Tomorrow night and Sunday on for the big league. So let's forward to that.
Yeah, it should be good. Tomorrow at 7:30 till 8:30, we've got Alan Morrison on. And then on Sunday at 5 till 6, we've got Scott McPike on. So, yeah, it should be good. Decent shows coming up.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, well, let's begin at the beginning, you would say, before we look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action. There is some big League Cup semi-final action on tomorrow at Hampden Park. Graham, 5:30 kickoff for Celtic against Kilmarnock.
Yeah, obviously the two teams met last week in the league at Celtic Park. Celtic won by 2-0, and in the end it was very comfortable. You know, Celtic weren't great first half. We were on last Sunday. Celtic weren't great first half, but then could have scored quite a few in the second half. Kilmarnock were very, very stuffy last week. I thought they played okay. Didn't really create a lot, but they defended really well. I expect the same tomorrow. I think they'll do exactly the same tomorrow. Try and defend as much as they can, defend quite deep. And it's up to Celtic to break them down, which I do think they will. And a little quiz for you, by the way. I'm sure Greg probably will know this anyway. But who is the current Premiership manager that set up Kilmarnock's winner in the 2012 League Cup final that Celtic got beat 1-0 by Kilmarnock in?
It was 1-0, yeah.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I can't remember the player.
Do you know who set the goal up?
It's Hibernian's Lee Johnson to Dieter Van Donhoff, like the Kilmarnock striker was.
It wasn't. Did say I knew Greg would get it. He's Googled that. No, he's not. No, but I do expect Kilmarnock to be very difficult to beat again. But I just think
Not at all.
I just think Celtic have got a bit too much quality going forwards. I do expect Celtic to win quite comfortably. But again, I always say this when I'm on the show. I think the first goal is going to be so important. If by some chance Kilmarnock could get it, they've got something to kind of hold on to. But if Celtic get it and they get an early goal, I think it could be 4 or 5. So I'm expecting a Celtic win. But I think Kilmarnock will try and make it difficult.
Greg, do you think Kilmarnock will change their style? Because last week they were very defensive. Tomorrow night's game, it's going to be a a kind of one-off game, and I think they've got to go for it because it's a cup semi-final. But or do you think they'll go into the same this game with the same approach?
I think Kilmarnock are going to have to go for it as well. As you said, Mike, it's a one-off game. Obviously, it's anything can happen nowadays. I can't remember if VAR's in use for the League Cup semi-finals or not, but with one red card, one dodgy decision, one fortuitous luck going your way. Kilmarnock, the kind of poor side. Derek McInnes has got them, quite stuffy, hard to beat, but they're not necessarily a great side to watch. So I think that will certainly be in their game plan for tomorrow to be quite physical against Celtic, get up against them, probably have a deep defensive line as well to kind of combat the pace that Celtic offer through Kyogo, be it Abada, be it Jota that starts. For us, you never know with Celtic. They've got so many kind of attacking options, so I would expect them to sit quite deep, play for set pieces, play for corners as well, where Ash Taylor, Kyle Lafferty, I think, rumoured to be thrown back into the starting lineup, which will be interesting to say the least. So, yeah, listen, it's a one-off game. It's Hampden. The players naturally will raise their game on such an occasion to be televised across the UK and beyond. I'm looking at it.
Greg, do me a favour. I'm not picking on you because you're the new boy, but do you want to go in and come back in again, because there seems to be a delay on the line, so I don't.
Yeah, I'll come back in. Since I've moved to Fife, Mike, it's not been so kind to me. The internet's just getting going here, so I'll come out and I'll come back.
A cracking day. Sunday we were kept getting cut off and coming back on again.
Are you getting me, Michael?
I'm getting you, yeah, but yeah,
That's fine.
couple of wee seconds behind what I speak. I think there seems to be a delay somewhere, but hopefully we'll get that sorted again. We'll come back on. So I was saying to Greg about the Kilmarnock's approach for the game tomorrow. I don't think it'll be any different. I think they'll. To be honest, last week we spoke in the show last week that they defended well in the first half. Celtic couldn't break them down. Celtic got the goal at the right time, and in the second half, Graham, it could have been 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, it probably should have been. I think Celtic were very comfortable last week, and as I say, I do expect the same tomorrow. And I think Greg is right. I think they will be defend very deep. Kilmarnock have got to do what they've got to do tomorrow. But I just think, I'll be honest, I've probably been quite critical of Kilmarnock this season. I don't think they've been particularly great, but they're in a cup semi-final, so they're doing something right. But I just think that they will make it hard. And, they showed last week that they can defend quite well. Celtic didn't really cut them open many times last week. But Celtic have just got that much quality going forward. I just can't see anything other than a Celtic win. If Kilmarnock were to somehow pull off a victory, that would be unbelievable. And it can happen. Of course it can. It's cup football. But I just think Celtic, with that quality they've got going forwards, they've also still got Giakoumakis as well that they can bring on, who looks like he might be leaving at some point. But Celtic have just got so much quality. And I would think that Celtic, on that, that big pitch, I just think Celtic will have far too much for them.
For Kilmarnock, obviously Greg alluded to there that Kyle Lafferty might be thrown back in to the game? Do you think it's a risk that Kilmarnock's taking, throwing them back in these kind of games? But we all know that Kyle Lafferty likes playing against Celtic.
No, I think the thing is, Lafferty's a big game player. You know, he scores in big games, and I think if you get the chance to put him in there, you have to put him in. Again, I've said before that they don't have enough up front for me. They do rely on, Kyle Lafferty. They have missed him badly. So I think he will add a physical presence to them, which I think, again, they need. And he'll give that Celtic backline a difficult game. I think Carter Vickers will know that he's been in a game. I think Starfelt will know he's been in a game. So they have to play. If he's fully fit and he's capable and he can start, you have to start Kyle Lafferty because he is easily their main player. So they have to get the ball up to him and see what he could do. But, I mean, I think Kilmarnock, they really are going to have to try, if they can. I think they've got to take it in stages. Try and get through the first 20 minutes unscathed. Then try and get to half an hour unscathed. Just try and do it in stages. But I would fear, if they lose an early goal, I would fear that they could be on the end of a hammering.
Derek McInnes said that he is over the moon that his team's got so far, but we want to go win it, or else get to the final. But that's the thing, Graham. It's nobody remembers who's been in the semi-final. You want to be in the final and get a chance of winning the game.
It's strange because I actually looked at the league table earlier on, and Kilmarnock have only scored 20 goals this season. But yet they're in a cup semi-final, which is mental, but fair play to them. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you get there. And I think whatever happens tomorrow, I think Derek McInnes can be quite happy with what they've done so far this season to get to a cup semi-final. Also, they knocked out my team Hearts, unfortunately. But listen, they've got to the semi-final. They thoroughly deserve to be there, obviously, so they have done very well. But I think this is where it might come to an end. I just don't see them being strong enough to beat Celtic. But again, they go into this game as everyone thinks they're going to get beat, so they've got nothing to lose. They may as well just maybe try and have a go. I can get where Grace coming from. I think they will be defensive, but it's a one-off game. Maybe just have a go and see what happens. But I just think that first 10, 15 minutes could be so important. If they lose an early goal, I think Celtic will go and score 4 or 5. If they can try and stay in the game as long as they can, maybe get a set piece, a corner, a free kick, and Lafferty gets an end of it, you never know.
I was going to say, both of the teams has got a week off now. A week off beginning game. Who will benefit more? Obviously, Celtic used to, like playing a few 1 or 2 games a week. So benefit come out more.
Potentially. I mean, I just think Kilmarnock, they have had one of these kind of seasons where I've watched a few Kilmarnock games and I don't think they've been that great to watch. And the fact that they're sitting 9th and only scored 20 goals, they are a team that lacks goals, as do Ross County. And I think having Lafferty back will be a massive bonus. I don't know if the break is going to help them. I'm not sure, but the fact they've also played Celtic last week, they know what to expect now. I don't think Kilmarnock will change anything they did from last week. But I just have this feeling that if they lose an early goal, as I've said, I think Celtic could go and score 5 or 6 tomorrow. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it's a decent game and an entertaining game, but I just have this feeling that Celtic will be far, far too strong for them tomorrow.
Welcome back, Greg Playfair. I know that we said to you that you're going off at 6 o'clock, but I didn't mean now.
Yeah, apologies. I think since moving across the Water 35, my laptop's not moved very well across, adapting to Wi-Fi. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear now.
It's a lot better now.
Good. Sticking with iPhone. Yeah, apologies earlier on about Kilmarnock. Yeah, but sorry, Mike.
I'll let you have the point that you were making because you were getting rudely interrupted by people behind the scenes. So about tomorrow's game, Greg.
Yeah, so I said that I don't think Kilmarnock will be a pretty sight to watch tomorrow. As I said, I've not been impressed with them this season. they've not really got much creative wide players. I think the only one player they've really got is Danny Armstrong, who in the summer I think was looked to be on his way out of Kilmarnock. But even that, he's been kind of been utilised as a wing back, which I don't think really plays to his attacking strength. So I'm not expecting Kilmarnock to be expansive. I'm not expecting them to be, trying to take the game to Celtic. I think I touched on, heard Graham there mention around that it could be 5 or 6 for Celtic. I mean, this as a kind of neutral in this game, I think the potential of that Celtic team and squad is frightening. There'll be guys that don't even make the match day squad that would start for every other team. The attacking depth, we're talking about guys like Maeda, Abada, Haksabanovic, Forrest, Jota. I mean, only 2 of these guys will start, and probably only 2 maybe will make the bench as well. So somebody misses out. So you look at that attacking wide talent, Kyogo up front as well. Like it could be a long afternoon or long night. Sorry, it's 5:30 kickoff for Celtic. I mean, yeah. The key for Kilmarnock will be kind of what they've done at Celtic Park last week, is try and have a tight first half, frustrate Celtic. But if Celtic score early, it could be any score tomorrow. It could be a cricket score.
Greg, I was just going to ask you in terms of Kilmarnock. Obviously not last week when they played Celtic, but the week before that, I read their team sheet, and up front they had Christian Doidge and Scott Robinson. No disrespect to those two, but they are not going to score you goals. They've got Kyle Lafferty back now. How important do you think this next few weeks is going to be for Derek McInnes in terms of the transfer window, that they bring in more quality up front? Because apart from Lafferty, they've not got much else.
Yeah, it's interesting. Robinson's came in the lineup as well, and again, he probably could role under David Martindale Livingston in terms of being that kind of little man, or at times up front of his own under David Martindale for Livingston. But looking at the start of the season when Robinson was injured, it was almost like land of the Giants up front. They had big Ennis Cameron 6'2", 6'3", Christian Doidge 6'3", Lafferty 6'4". There's another striker as well. They've got Ollie Shaw 6'2", I think, as well. So you can kind of see the football that Derek was looking to play. Because obviously they've came up this season, so I understand their kind of modus operandi is to remain in the league. But I think now, probably as we see, probably from, I could argue after Aberdeen down, there's a bit of a blob like we've seen last season, that anyone can really beat anyone. So yeah, I think he needs to get some good fullbacks in as well. I've not been impressed by those that have been playing there. As I said, Danny Armstrong's been playing there. Kerr McInroy playing left wing back against Hearts at Tynecastle, who totally anonymous, and wingers as well. So width will be really, really crucial for Derek McInnes. And as I said, it seems strange when they're going to Hampden on the biggest pitch in the country. I think they'll try and keep it quite narrow. Just as I said, keep them in between the kind of six of the post and in between the lines of the box. I don't think they'll be very, very expansive. So I'm interested to see who would go there. I mean, obviously as a Hearts fan, like yourself, actually someone like Gary Mackay-Steven going there to Kilmarnock, I think he would probably be an upgrade into what they've got just now. But yeah, it's interesting because a lot of these teams like Kilmarnock and Dundee United, Motherwell, they're all operating the same market, looking for the same sorts of players. So it'd be interesting to see what Derek's able to do.
Could you, because I've seen a few things in our group chats about this, and I've seen a few things on Twitter as well. Do you think potentially that Nathaniel Atkinson could go to Kilmarnock as a right back or right wing back or something like that?
As I said, Atkinson, it's an interesting one for Hearts, obviously, for moving on to Hearts. But he would do a job at Kilmarnock. I think he'd walk into Kilmarnock's team right now, to be honest. As I said, it shows you the right back or right wing back doesn't even stand out to me just now, because obviously for years they had like Stephen O'Donnell, who was obviously a mainstay in that lineup. But he would definitely improve that side to no end. I think Atkinson might be going further afield than Scotland, but we could go for that Kilmarnock team, Graham, and say that they need an upgrade. In goals, Sam Walker's now getting his game ahead of Zach Hemming, who was probably one of the Championship's best goalkeepers last season, and part of the reason Kilmarnock were so good at home. Centre back, they're playing a back three. You've got Ash Taylor, and they could do up with upgrades there. I know is it Mail that plays here as well? Is on loan from
Yeah.
Rangers.
Yeah.
He's good. He's young, but as I said, they could definitely do better. And middle of the pitch as well. I think Alan Power, and no pun intended, he's lost a lot of his prowess and his power. And in there, he's just like a yard short of it in terms of pace and reaction. So I mean, I think I seen last season as well that Kilmarnock had 2 boys contracted for this year. They've done a lot of contract renewals, but this Kilmarnock side I think will be very different come the end of the summer window. Anyway, that's for sure.
So Watson and Andy Postecoglou's press conference them, and I don't know if any of the Kilmarnock fans will be feeling the worst because Celtic has no got any injury doubts going into the game. So, but I suppose if Celtic did have kind of like 1 or 2 injury doubts, they would still have a strong squad. I think we were having a tasting last week in the show, Graham, about you don't really notice when players goes out of the team because they bring so much quality into the team, and Derek McInnes and the Kerry fans will be feeling worst tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I said when the Celtic played Rangers a couple of weeks ago. You know, you've got that Celtic bench, you bring on guys like Giakoumakis, Abada and Jota, where Rangers bring on like James Sands and all that kind of stuff, and it's completely different. Celtic do have such a strong squad, and they are going to add to that. I think today that he was asked about the potential sending of that Japanese striker again, and he was quite coy on that, understandably. But Celtic have just got so much quality, especially going forwards. And again, I said it a few weeks ago as well, and again, I don't think I was wrong, but I don't think Celtic had missed Callum McGregor when he was out the squad because he still had enough quality in that team. But since McGregor's came back, he's been probably just as good as when he went out. He's such a great leader of that team, a great captain, a great footballer. He gets things going. He dictates the tempo of the game, alongside somebody who I think as well has been fantastic the last few weeks is Hatate. I think Hatate's been phenomenal the last few weeks. He really has. He's got such quality on the ball. He's good going forward. He actually played like centre-back a few weeks ago as well, and maybe right back. He's just a very good footballer. Celtic have got so much quality going forward. And this is what I said last week as well. Celtic have got so much quality, and they're going to add to that probably in January and in the summer. And this is another reason why I just don't think that anybody out with Celtic and Rangers will ever win the league again for as long as I'm around. I just don't see it happening because they're just too strong. And that, if I'm a Kilmarnock fan tomorrow, I'm looking at that Celtic bench thinking, oh no, they've got about 4 or 5 players to bring on, make a difference here if they need to. We don't have that. So Celtic are just so strong all over that park. And again, defensively, I think they're looking a lot stronger as well. They're not giving a lot away. And you mentioned it last week. I've mentioned it on here. I'm sure that when Reagan comes on later, he'll mention it as well. But I think if I was probably going to give Player of the Year to a Celtic player just now, Celtic fans might laugh at this, but I'd be giving it to Greg Taylor. I think he's been phenomenal. He's been a massive miss when he's not played for Celtic. Again, he'd went out the door a few months ago. The job he's done has been phenomenal. So yeah, Celtic are so strong over the park. And again, I said last week, and I put it in the tagline at the bottom here, I think it will be, I'll get onto it later, I know, but I think it will be a Celtic Rangers final, and I think Celtic will be far too strong again.
Yeah, no. Definitely. I don't know who you guys. I'm doing questions at my side, so I don't know about Mr. Greg and Graham, but we keep coming and going, so hopefully that doesn't put the audience off the show. Let's talk football has come in here. And it's my usual joke when I say Greg. I wonder who that is. I think it's Mr. Smith. I'm not sure, Dave Smith. But he says, guess who I've up to the game this week. Let's give a question. Dave, he's probably covered it for a certain newspaper. It's out the weekend as well. I'll give the game away here, Graham, because it's out on the Sunday and it's called Mail, so it's Mail. and that's the way it is. So there you go. So Andrew Postecoglou said, no injury worries. We need to work hard to get the win. It's just it's a one-off game. And that's right, Greg, because it's a one-off game. Like, it's a cup semi-final, so anything could happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. But I just think now, fact is, like, it's the first trophy that you can win this season. Obviously, I think Celtic have won the league. It would take some sort of miracle for Beale and Rangers to claw that back. So, but I think it puts the marker down, obviously, to get the trophy. Obviously, it's been pushed back because of the World Cup, but usually that'd be before Christmas now. I said, for Ange Postecoglou, he's the sort of manager, I think, as well, that he won't leave Celtic, unlike Brendan Rodgers, who left for Pastures New. I genuinely believe that Postecoglou wants to stay at Celtic and win as many trophies as possible. So the game tomorrow, he will be setting his side out tomorrow to say, listen, this is take this game as it comes. We could get beat, but let's have a chance to try and get a clean sweep in the league, in the League Cup and the Scottish Cup once again. The favourites in every competition. So, yeah, Kilmarnock could spring a surprise or two, but to be honest, I can't really see it. I think out of the two games this weekend, the game in which you would expect an upset will be the game on Sunday. I can't see Kilmarnock and Kenny under any guise of winning this, to be honest.
Now, Graham, this guy called Let's Talk Football, he is basically saying, Michael, what about my question? How rude. Yeah, sorry, I'm quite a rude boy sometimes. I did see your question 2 hours ago, right enough. Greg, what formation will come out play tomorrow?
6-4-0.
I think it'll be a back five. It'll be like a 3-5-1-1-3, basically like kind of 5-4-1, to be honest. Yeah, as I said, I think we've seen against Hearts when they keep it to Tynecastle. We've seen against, obviously, when they've played at Celtic Park the other week. I think he'll try and keep it tight in the middle of the pitch, as you said. I think Celtic's strengths undoubtedly lie in the wide positions, but the fact as well is the fullbacks, you obviously mentioned around Greg Taylor being a miss, but when you've got probably Bernabei starts and obviously Arthur Johnson, they'll come in and they'll obviously add a kind of play in the midfield, because I think it'll be compact and congested. And again, I don't think he would do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Hatate featured again a right back for Celtic in that game tomorrow, purely because he may want to have O'Reilly, McGregor and Moy in that middle as well, to kind of really take the game to Kilmarnock. And obviously Hatate, you mentioned him earlier, Graham. I think he's one of my favourite non-Hearts player to watch, because you talk about players that consistently play 7 and 8 out of 10, but he does that every week. And as I said, the tactics from Derek McInnes will be to kind of flood the midfield, flood the defence, sit deep, and then try and play their way out. And I think having an out ball and someone like Kyle Lafferty, you can see it happening where they'll try and knock up, they'll try and win a fill, try and get the pitch, time waste, game management. And as I said, is that something I agree with? Given the options that Derek McInnes has got at his disposal, I think he won't care if that gets them to the final or takes them to extra time, takes them to penalties. But yeah, I can't see it being a game for the football and purists, to be honest.
Michael, I was just going to say, right, I know, because I've hosted this show numerous times myself, you don't get asked questions a lot as a host. So I'm going to ask you, because you're going to the game tomorrow, what are you expecting tomorrow from the game?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Graham. That's why you're hosting tomorrow. I'm expecting the same kind of game as last week. But I mean, if I was a Kilmarnock fan, I would be disappointed if they sat in for the whole game, because it's a one-off game, so they've got to go. But yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock's got to start the game, 10, 50 minutes tight, and then maybe catch Celtic on the counter-attack. Right enough, I don't know. I don't see where they're going to get the break from. But I mean, the best possible chance Kilmarnock will get is a set play, maybe a corner kick or free kick, because I've said it for ages. Years actually. Celtic's not the biggest team in the world. And I know that might be a funny comment I've made there, but I just feel as though that height matters in a team, especially when it comes to set plays. That's where you miss the likes of Carl Kisman is not playing and all that about height and the defence. So I think in answer to your question, I think the best possible way for Kilmarnock to get a goal is a set play, a corner kick, a free kick, or even a penalty, because I'm not sure, Greg, if VAR's in action tomorrow. I think it will be because it's a semi-final.
Yeah, I hope so. As I said, it's certainly provided entertainment.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
Exactly. So let's move on to the other big game on Sunday. Before we get to the game, there's been a headline, Graham, not because it's Rangers against Aberdeen. It's Anthony Stewart against Flego Morelos or Kovac before the game, because I don't know if you saw his comments yesterday at his press conference going into them. Who would you rather play, Kovac or Morelos? Again, it says Kovac, but there you go. Funnily enough, that Michael Beale has revealed today that Kovac out on.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had written it down. I was going to talk about that. I mean, I see that Jim Goodwin has said it was a regrettable comment. I mean, that's your captain coming out and saying that. Why on earth would you come out and say that? I mean, that just lights fuel to the fire. Don't come out and say that when you're playing against that team on Sunday. It's just daft. I mean, I don't know if it's just naivety. I don't know on Stewart's part, but I wouldn't be coming out and saying that. Listen, Cholak might be the better player just now. He has scored 14 goals. Morelos only scored 5. But before a big game, Rangers Aberdeen is a massive game. It always has been. We always talk about the fact that Aberdeen only play 4 times a season, and it's against Rangers, and they showed that a few weeks ago. But as a captain, to come out and say that in the press, I just thought was very naive. It was a daft thing to say. And if I'm Morelos and I start on Sunday, which I think he will, I want to ram that right down Stewart's throat. That's what I'd be thinking of Morelos. And he won't need any kind of incentive. But that is just an absolute daft thing to say. And as the captain of Aberdeen, you should know better.
Greg, that comment might come back to bite him in the, what's after the game.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think I know we've got some Aberdeen supporting friends, and I mean they've not been enamoured with Anthony Stewart this season in terms of performances, and I mean it's one of those where is he hoping to get a bit of a rise out of Alfredo Morelos, where he's maybe seen someone like Ryan Porteous wind him up, and you've seen Morelos get red cards. Is that going to be the tactics? I think it sounds a bit like that, a bit of mischief making. But the one thing I would say for Morelos is Beale had a lot of faith and confidence in him. And you can, rest assured that before the game, he'll be, even if he was kind of doubting whether Kovac or Morelos, it's kind of made that decision for Beale. And as I said, I think he'll obviously start the game and he'll have a point to prove. But it's as Graham says, it's one of those where it goes up in the dressing room wall now. If reports are to believe, Morelos doesn't speak very good English as it stands, but I'm sure he'll understand that it's someone's saying that you're not good enough and I want to face you. And as I said, we've seen Morelos, he's quite a combative figure, so he'll not shirk away from that battle. And as I said, it'll be one to watch on the game itself.
Graham, from a Rangers point of view, is it worrying because since Michael in, they've not really had a decent 19-minute performance. It's always been in the second half, the second 45 minutes. But because it's a semi-final, do you think Aberdeen would be up for the game? Do you think that Rangers would need to perform for 90 minutes or 95 minutes or whatever the case may be on Sunday?
I don't think they'll care. If they're outplayed for 90 minutes and score in the last minute, they won't care how they do it. Just get to the final. That's all that matters. I mean, I've watched a few Rangers games since Beale came in, and they've not been great. I think they beat Motherwell 3-0. They were okay in that game. Obviously, the Hibs game, the first game that Beale had, they weren't great. They were better second half. Even the game last week against Dundee United, I watched the highlights later. I am still, and anyone that's watching this, and I've seen a few pundits in that as well, I am still convinced that was a penalty for United. That's a handball for me all day long. I don't care what anyone says, that's a penalty. So I thought United played well last week, and Rangers' second half again were better. But yeah, they've not played brilliantly for 90 minutes. But again, it's a semi-final game. You don't care how you do it. If you get through on penalties, all that matters is winning that game and getting to the final. I think Aberdeen will be a big test. You know, I said this last week as well. And I said this to Dave as well last week, that I think that game at Pittodrie where Rangers won 3-2 in the last few minutes, that had an effect on Aberdeen. Now, don't get me wrong, they were good against St Johnstone. They played a lot better last week. And I think for Aberdeen, if you're an Aberdeen fan, you are very, very reliant on Duke just now. He's been phenomenal recently. Absolutely fantastic player. And they need him because Majowski's gone right off the boil. I said again on the show that I'm a big fan of Leighton Clarkson, seen him at Liverpool. He's a very good player. They need to get him in the game. But I think for Michael Beale, all that matters is getting through. I think Ryan Kent's been a lot better recently. I think they look a bit better defensively. So they do look better, but I mean, I don't think it'll matter what they do tomorrow on Sunday. Just get through the tie. It won't matter how they do it, just get through. But I think it will be a difficult game. I mean, I actually think this could go extra time of penalties, to be honest. I think it'll be a very, very close game.
And hopefully he'll be back a week on Saturday when they kick on in the Cup. Do you think that that'll be a big boost for the Rangers fans to have him back?
Sorry, Mick, I don't know if it was just me, but I don't know if you cut off there in terms of what players coming back, did you say today?
It cut off for me as well.
Oh, yeah. I told you we're having a nightmare tonight, but no, Michael Beale said to me today that John Souttar's back in training, and he'll hopefully be back for the St Johnstone game. I think it's a week tomorrow, or a week on Sunday. That game is up at McDermott Park. Do you think it will be a new signing for Rangers having him back?
Yeah, obviously Graham and I have seen quite a lot of John Souttar over the years, following Hearts, and obviously you've seen last year when he played for Scotland as well. When he got his call up, he was great in the Euro games as well. So, listen, I think John Souttar's not really had a great time at Rangers like he would like in terms of injuries. I think he'll be good, but it's one of those where I think Rangers anticipated Connor Goldson to leave the club. And then obviously the fact they did a new deal because John Souttar is basically to right side the centre half, for hitting those diagonals, hitting those balls in channels as well, which I also find quite odd as well that they're pursuing Ryan Porteous as well. I know Celtic are kind of with an interest. I know he's got Udinese and Watford and half English Championship after him, but that Ranger interest is still there, I believe. So it's interesting in terms of that. I know Beale had also said that when he was assistant to Steven Gerrard, he was a player that they looked at, they wanted to sign. So that will give John Souttar a lot of confidence. But going into Sunday's game, following on what Graham said, I think this League Cup semi-final between Aberdeen and Rangers has got shades of that. Remember that Rangers Motherwell semi-final where it was Louis Moult running amok, scoring 2 goals as well. I think it seems like a bit like that to me as well, where I can kind of see a physical Miovski, a tenacious Duke, someone that's going to take the game by the cuff of the neck, because you're right when you said earlier, Mike, that the Rangers haven't been playing for 90 minutes since Beals came in. And again, psychologically as well, I think that has an impact where players are thinking, we need to perform from minute one, so they could have a good first half, but then that might give Aberdeen confidence in the second. Listen, the Red Army, the Aberdeen fans, they'll be travelling down in their numbers to Glasgow on Sunday, despite the ridiculous kick-off time for them as well. So they might be setting off tomorrow morning to get them plenty of time. But again, I actually see Aberdeen could sneak this. Again, like Graham, it could be for extra time, could be for penalties, and I think kind of defensively as well. That's where they could be got at. Tavernier's been playing okay. I don't think he's as good as last season. He's seemingly been carrying injuries over the last couple of months as well. Centre back pairing, that's where it's weak for me, because again, you wouldn't say in terms of Goldson and he's got a set partner. It's been Ben Davis, it's been James Sands, you've had Leon King in there, and that could be somewhere a position.
Oh, Greg, away. He'll be back in a few. Oh, right, he's back.
Apologies, it's the using my personal phone and obviously getting through calls asking if I'm going to the pub for the Hearts game. But no, I think centre backs for Rangers could be where we have a real talent, a real opportunity for Aberdeen to exploit. To be honest, as I said, that could be an interesting battle for Miovski, for Duke, whoever's up top for Aberdeen leading the line. That's where the talk around Anthony Stewart and Morelos. It's the other side of the pitch as well. You want to look at as well for throughout the game.
I was trying to find it on my phone here because I can't. Sorry, Michael. I was trying to find it on my phone here, but I can't find it. I'm sure I saw something earlier from Frank McAvenny basically slating John Souttar or the signing of John Souttar, and I can't find what he said. But he was very critical of the signing of John Souttar because he's not been fit. Now, obviously, Greg said that me and him know about John Souttar from his Hearts days, and yeah, a big problem has been the fact that he's not been fit. But there's no doubt in my mind that John Souttar, when fit, is an absolute class defender. But the issue is getting him fit and keeping him fit. That's the big issue. And I think for Frank McAvenny to slate the guy is very, very harsh, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you were saying that's a big issue, but I know you were saying it's a big issue, but the big issue for me at the moment is, Greg, the whole nation wants to know, are you going to the pub before the game? Or are you going to the pub?
No, I'm being good. I'm being good, Mike. Yeah, I'm taking the car after this. So, yeah, as I said, it's being good for this weekend. Dry January and all that jazz.
That's why we signed him up, because the show, Grim, we're like professional people on the show.
I don't trust any jabber that's not drinking. Shocking.
We're not that bad to watch this year, Graham. We're not that bad. You don't need alcohol to get through the game.
Oh, don't worry, mate. We'll get to that very shortly before you leave. Hurry up, Michael. Come on, get to Hearts. Come on, hurry up.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I know exactly. I'm going to keep Aberdeen and Rangers fans happy. Michael Beale said today, another thing, Greg, was he said they are in talks with one or two players, hoping to get somebody in the door by next week.
Yeah, I think Cantwell's been a name that's been linked a few times for a few papers as well, and there's never any smoke without a fire. So I think that could be an option. I think there's another couple of English-based players that are kind of in their early 20s as well, where Rangers are looking to make signings. I know Beale said he'll make no loan signings at all. He wants kind of players that are going to be committed to Rangers, that are going to give them their best years ahead of them. So you're not going to get kind of over the hill players that are, coming towards the end of their career, coming to Rangers for a bit of a pay package, a la another Aaron Ramsey, so to speak. So I don't think they'll make that mistake twice. So they need bodies, I think, Rangers, in terms of attacking quality. You did mention that earlier, or it might be yourself, Mike, in terms of, when Celtic are able to have Jota on the bench and bring him on, Rangers are bringing on Scott Wright. No disrespect, but listen, he wouldn't even get in the matchday squad for Celtic, put it that way. So that shows you the level of quality and the gulf between the two sides. So January is always a notoriously difficult time to get players in. It's either players that are transfer listed, out of form, out of favour, have fallen out. There's usually a reason why they're allowed to leave in January. So I'm intrigued as to how Rangers will get on in this window.
Greg, what have you? You've not been on here for a while, so what have you thought about Ryan Kent this season? Because I do like Ryan Kent, but he is a very frustrating player to watch, as most wingers are. He's been very up and down. What have you made of him since basically Michael Beale's came in?
Obviously, I don't think he was playing for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, to be honest, to tell you the truth. I don't think he was given that kind of freedom to do what he done under Gerrard and Beale before. He's obviously picked up his levels and he's been playing well since. But is that because he's in the last 6 months of his contract? Is he playing for a move in England or abroad? He's been in Germany before. He was loaned to Liverpool. Contract to Liverpool. He's done a few loan spells as well. There was always talk of him moving to like Leeds United and that sort of level. But to be honest, I look at Ryan Kent and I think for form and consistency, I don't think Ryan Kent moves to Premier League side for regular football. He may join a side to kind of be a bench warmer, so to speak. But I don't think. Again, I look at that Celtic team. Does Ryan Kent start for Celtic? I'll ask you guys that. Do you think Ryan Kent gets a game for Celtic?
On you go, Michael. You're a Celtic man. You can answer that one.
No. Dan, what do you think?
And I know that you were saying the on about right.
No, I don't think he does. I think Abada and Jota are ahead of him, to be honest. I think Kent has moments in games where I think he does okay. But for me, this season in particular, he's not done it anywhere near enough. And again, as I say, wingers, as we know, because we've got Josh Janelle and Alan Forrest, they can be very inconsistent. But I just think I don't think Ryan Kent would get in that Celtic starting lineup. Nah, not for me.
And I know that you were saying, Greg, earlier on about Ryan Porteous. I don't think he'll get even a sniff near that Celtic squad. And I've heard a few rumours that it's in the Championship that a few teams are looking at him, but no. It wouldn't be enough that Celtic team. Maybe the Rangers, because I feel as though in that midfield, Rangers needs a bit of fight in there at the moment that they're missing. And Ryan Porteous has got a bit of dig about him. But no, in terms of Celtic, I don't think he'll get in that squad as well. The other, I just wanted to pick up on another couple of comments before we move on to the Hearts game tonight. Michael Beale said today that we want to be in the final and the next ring of the Scottish Cup. So it's going to be a big week. It's a big week for him, Glenn, because obviously tomorrow Aberdeen on Sunday, and then get Kilmarnock away on Wednesday night, and then St Johnstone away in the cup this weekend. So it's a busy week for Rangers.
It is, and I think if he can get to a cup final, then fantastic for him. I generally don't think they'll win it because I think Celtic are too strong. But yeah, it is a big couple of weeks. Greg's right, and I've said as well, the league title's over. Celtic are far too strong. They're not going to lose this lead now. But I think it's probably all about building for Rangers. If they could get to the cup final, potentially win it, get to a Scottish Cup final, potentially win that, fantastic for him. But I just think next season is going to be huge for Michael Beale. What they do in the summer transfer window, You know, they're going to be starting level pegging with Celtic next season. So it's a big season for Rangers next season. Whatever Beale does this season, there's a long, long way to go. I think they probably will strengthen in January. Maybe a couple more signings coming in. I do think you were right. I think having John Suter back will be like a new signing if he can stay fit. And that's a big if. But I think Beale so far has done okay. Again, you were right. He's not had an amount of performance yet, but he's done okay so far. And that's probably a lot of Rangers fans that are a lot happier now. But again, as I said a few weeks ago, it says a lot, the fact that these players are now performing more for Michael Beale than they were for Van Bronckhorst. Van Bronckhorst got these guys to a European final. And I think the way that they treated him, for me, was an absolute disgrace. And now they're performing better. Certain players are anyway, like Ryan Kent, for Michael Beale. I just think that's shocking, to be honest. I really do.
Okay, so that's the big game this weekend. Then tomorrow night, Celtic and Kilmarnock. And Sunday, Rangers Aberdeen. Of course, Graham will be on with Aaron Morrison from Celtic by Numbers tomorrow night at 7:30. And I will be back in the hot seat. The you works as on Sunday at 5:00. So, let's move on to the game this weekend. And there's a big game tonight. Mr. Playfair is going away for us. Not to the pub, but he's going away for a pie in the Bosco soon. I think for the Hearts at Midden. And I think this is quite a decent game tonight.
Yeah, it's a really exciting game, and I know Graham and I are both looking forward to it. I think it's really strange that you're playing the same side back to back in league competition, home and away. So playing St Mirren will be a really good test at Tynecastle. I think Tynecastle under the lights midweek. I know it's a Friday, but still a kind of weekday game. I think it always adds to the atmosphere. The crowds this season at Hearts have been a sellout. 2,500 waiting list as well to get anywhere near Tynecastle these days. So it should be a packed night. The excitement as well, as Graham mentioned, is there's 3 new signings as well, which I don't think any of them starts. If there is one, it'll be the lad that was in the beginning of the week and James Hill, the centre back. But there's obviously a bit of needle because of 1-1 at Broome Paisley. Obviously a red card there as well, which again was, I don't know what the boy was thinking in terms of that jump from Marcus Fraser. But Hearts at Mirren, there is always a bit of needle between the sides going back to the 80s. So yeah, it's a game I'm looking forward to, and I don't know what's Graham's thoughts in terms of what are you looking forward to most about the game tonight, Graham?
3 points is all I'm looking forward to. This is honestly great for me. I've actually got a Hearts fan on. There's 2 of us for a team. Normally I'm surrounded by Celtic fans. It's great. No, last week wasn't a great performance. And I think second half it was a lot better. I do expect St Mirren to do the same thing again tonight. I think what they did last week was they put players on Robert Snodgrass, the right thing to do, because Snodgrass has been absolutely fantastic. I expect the same tonight, but Tynecastle is a bigger pitch. So it'll give us a bit more space. I think for me, again, like Greg, the new signings I'm delighted with. And again, for me, I think what I'm really excited about is the fact that Hearts are going in the right direction on the pitch and off the pitch. There's a big buzz around Tynecastle just now. Now, that could change by 9:30 tonight. You don't know what will happen. But there's a buzz about the team just now. You know, we've got him, Garang Kuol, who really excites me. 18-year-old from Newcastle. He looks a very exciting player. I'm excited to see what James Hill can do at centre-back, a ball-playing centre-back. Again, that came out of nowhere, which I quite like, the fact that Hearts are keeping things quiet. And Utara Oda looks absolutely lightning from what I've seen. So we've got pace now going forward, which we've needed for a while. So there's a lot to be excited about. I think the fact that we've still got injuries as well, I would hope Stephen Kingsley's back tonight, Andy Harley potentially back tonight. There's a lot to look forward to. We've got a big game next week in the Cup against Hibs. But tonight takes care of itself. It's a big, big game. I'm expecting and hoping for 3 points. It'll be difficult, but we've got enough quality. And again, for me, he didn't get a lot of chances last week, but Lawrence Shankland is 2 goals away from 20 goals. The first striker since Robertson to get 20 goals, which I've said before, is mental. The amount of strikers we've had and no one has got near it yet, apart from maybe Kyle Lafferty. So, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. And I just think that at home, under the lights of a big crowd tonight, I'm hoping that Hearts will get 3 points, but it'll be difficult. But, yeah, the fact we could have potentially, we'll get the team news probably about 6:30, we could have 3 new signings on the bench. And I don't know, whether Greg knows this or not, but I would hope that we might have potentially 1 or 2 more coming in the next few weeks, and probably a few more leaving as well. Gary Mackay-Steven, Ewan Henderson potentially. But there's a lot. For the first time in a while as a Hearts fan, there's a lot to look forward to.
Robbie Nielsen was saying yesterday at his press conference on James Hill, he said, I'm delighted to get him. He's a player we knew about from his time at Fleetwood. Then he got a big move to Bournemouth, where he has not played as much as he wanted to. So it's an opportunity for us to bring him up here and give him game time and develop him. Are you excited about the signing, Greg?
Yeah, definitely. We needed a centre half when obviously it was announced that Halkett was out for the season. By all reports, 20 years of age, England under 21 international, which again, is no mean feat. The fact he was playing men's football ages 16 as well down in League One, played like 57, 58 games on for Fleetwood as well, which shows that obviously he was trusted to play that role at Fleetwood and a physical League One, and we've seen guys from Scotland go down or come up and stuff. It's not an easy league, so to speak, and it's obviously kind of comparable standard to a lot of our teams. I think he'll be good. I think he'll be a right-sided centre-half. I know he said he's quite aggressive, but I can see him being right-sided, especially as he possesses a long throw, which his manager now, Robbie Nielsen, used to have himself, so I can see that being a tactic. Graham asked about any other sort of signings coming in. I would expect Callum Patterson to... He'll be signed in the summer, but if not, I'd expect it to come in this window. And again, he's someone as well who quite physical that can get the end of it. But yeah, I think James Hill's quite an exciting signing coming in. As I said, £1 million. He's obviously turned in a lot of championship interest as well as League One in England. Callum Patterson's current side as well, Sheffield Wednesday. That was their number 1 target. As I said, as Graham said, the other 2 boys coming in as well, the 2 pace merchants as well. It's quite exciting that Hearts will be able to actually bring on guys that can change the game in terms of pace. You'll have Ginnelly, you'll have Oda, and you'll have Qual. Some real exciting things for Hearts. And it's a good time. I think, as Graham said as well, you've got to kind of commend Hearts for getting the business done nice and early. It's kind of what Celtic have done as well. So I think you see the structures that both clubs have. You can see the correlation. You have good setups off the field that translates to on the field, and obviously both sides are doing well. But yeah, in terms of tonight, I think it'll be quite a difficult game for Hearts. I can see, I feel like I'm slating half the Scottish teams here, but I think St Mirren, they will come. They've got their injury problems as well coming into the game. They've obviously got a suspension to Fraser. Strain, the right back, won't be playing again tonight as well. Erehon's, I think, suspended or injured, or I know he's unavailable. He'll be leaving anyway. So I can see a Stephen Robinson side coming to Tynecastle, looking to be tight defensively. That will probably maybe mean a kind of dull affair in the first half. If Hearts don't score early, then it can all change. But I think, as Graham said, second half, I think having these sort of unknown quantities in Qual and Oda potentially on the bench, I think it's more likely to be Qual, to be honest. Oda might not get even a sniff. Hope he is. And then, as I said, hopefully we can see Shankland get 2 goals. I mean, that if anything, I would take that tonight, 2-1 Hearts with Shankland getting 2 goals. But I'm also agreed that what a clean sheet as well, to be honest, to help Zander Clark's claim to be the successor for the Scotland national team as well. So, game I'm looking forward to. I don't know, Graham, what is your predictions in terms of scoreline?
I do think we'll concede. We don't tend to keep clean sheets. I'm going to go 3-1. I know you have to go short. I just want to ask you a very quick question. Obviously, Robbie tends to like to play 3 at the back now, and you've got to assume when he's fit, Kings will be there. You've obviously got James Hill there, and you've got Kyle Rowles there. What do you think that would mean for Toby Sibbick, who, listen, I've been critical of in the past, but I think recently he's been very impressive. So where do you think Toby Sibbick will come in if everyone's fit?
I mean, I love Toby Sibbick. You've known that for months. I love him. I've been on the hype train for months and months. He's the most likely to drop out, but at this moment in time, he's in possession of the jersey, and I think Hill will know that coming in. I know sometimes these loan players have clauses in which they have to play a certain number of games. That's why we had Joe Pereira playing goals for us.
Don't mention him.
I think, to be honest, the likelihood is we'll have an injury. Given kind of amount of games we've played and given the sort of our luck, so to speak, I would say, to be honest, I could see it being Cochrane going out to left wing back, who I think is arguably Hearts player of the season. Him and Snodgrass.
I agree.
He'd be there. Kings Alessi centre half, Rowles and Sibbick being there. But as I said, who knows? We might get an injury. We might get transfer interest in Rowles if John Suter's brother is to be believed, Harry Suter. He's been wanted for 20-30 million. They might look at his Australian centre half partner from the World Cup and Kyle Rowles and say, "Oh, we'll put a bid in 5 million, 10 million, and we'll get him at half the price." So you never know. He might be wanted by other clubs as well. But again, a good thing, though, Graham, is options, isn't it? It's options that we've got now in terms of a Hearts squad.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, one of the players that, I love this guy, and I know you do as well, but having Kuwal there and now having Oda there, I'm hoping will be a rocket for Barry Mackay, who has been a little bit off form recently. We need Barry Mackay back because there's no doubt he's one of our best players if he's on form.
Absolutely. I think it's weird because obviously Barry Mackay last season kind of got a lot of plaudits, and rightly so. He was a good player, but it's only that it took a while to get his first goal for the club. But to be honest, going into tonight's game, I would probably drop Barry Mackay and I would play Humphreys instead for that physical presence. I don't think Ginnelly deserves to be dropped on his current form and what he brings to the team for that pace. But I can see Ginnelly coming out, Humphreys coming in. I can see Halliday coming in at left wing back, Kings on the bench, and yeah, I can see me texting you later going, "This is frustrating. We've won 1-0, 90th minute, Shanklin penalty." But hey, I would take that.
Mate, I'll take that all day. I don't mind. I'll take it.
I think that's the substitute sport coming for me. Is it, Mike?
Good to see you, Greg, mate. Enjoy the game.
If you want. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Greg. Good to see you.
Greg, how are you, mate?
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, and good to see you again, Regan, as well. But apologies, my laptop's goose, so apologies. So I'll see you in a bit.
No worries, mate. Enjoy.
Cheers.
On the Jambos. All right, Regan.
Hi, guys. Can you
There
hear
you
me?
go. And right on cue, we have Regan Stevens, number 14. He's on the park now, and Mr. Playfair is away for pie as well.
I think Regan's got with it. What is here?
Yeah. Good to see you again, Regan. It's been a while, so good to have you on again.
You're on mute,
And
Regan.
yes,
No,
listen,
mate.
barely that Regan on mute.
No, mate, it's good to be here. Better late than never. Happy New Year to everybody involved with the locker room, and it's good to see you.
Yeah, no, good to see you, and good to have you. Good to have you fitting back with the team for the second half of the season.
I pass
We were just at the Hearts and St Mirren game tonight, Regan. It'll be a good game.
It will be. I'm expecting a penalty tonight because I was reading tonight that Hearts have had the most penalties in the Premiership this season. So I'm expecting them.
When when you get in the box, you're an attacking team. That's what happens. You get penalties.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be Celtic anyway, because you guys have been talking about the last few weeks, but a few of the VR decisions, boys. Anyway, lads, how you been?
Yeah. So look. Yeah. Aye. So let's forward to tonight's game. Graham, I wanted to ask you this question because I was watching Stephen Robertson's press conference, and he said that and he was asked to get the conference, and I said to you last week on the show, has St Mirren got an issue with players getting sent off? Because that's the last 3 games that they've had players off. So Stephen Robertson says, no, we haven't got an issue, but do you think they have?
Yeah, potentially. And if they get somebody sent off tonight, I'll be delighted. But I mean, like Greg said earlier, I don't know what Marcus Fraser's doing last week. I don't know why he did what he did. It was just ridiculous what he did. He could have caused George Grant a serious injury. I would hope there's a word in his ear and said, look, you can't be doing that kind of thing. It's the last minute. There's no need for it. So, yeah, they do need to work on their discipline. But again, I think Kilmarnock have had a decent season this season. You know, they are sitting 6th in the league. They're a decent side.
Yeah.
They're maybe not great on the eye, but they're good at what they do. You know, Robertson's got them set up really well. And as I said to Greg, I expect him to do the same again tonight. I think they'll get somebody to sit on Robert Snodgrass, but Tynecastle is a bigger pitch. So I think Snodgrass will drop into that kind of deep line midfield role, pick up space and get the ball. And, you know, now, as I said, I don't think any of the new guys will start tonight, but we now have options off the bench. And one thing that I love, especially in our Hearts team, is pace. And we've got that now with guys like Garan Qual and Oda and Janelli and Humphreys. Yep. We've got real pace in that team now that can cause teams problems. So I would think that Hearts at home with that big crowd tonight, we should be good enough to win this game. But it will be difficult. And I think St Mirren, as I say, they are a good side. They're a decent side. They're a difficult side to beat, as you'll know. You know, they've already beaten Celtic at home. They drew with Rangers at home. They were probably unfortunate not to beat Hearts last week. They were the better team in the first half. Yep. So it will be a difficult game tonight. I've got no doubt about that. But I just think the way the Hearts have played just now and the quality we've got and the signings we've just made, I'm confident Hearts will win tonight. But then I'm one of these guys that's very defeatist. So never said that we'll win. We'll probably get beat. I hope not. But never said that we'll probably get beat.
A wee quick question, Graham. How the hell does it work out that they're playing back to back?
This was a rearranged game from December. We meant to play them I think it was actually just before Christmas, but it got rearranged. I can't remember what the reason was, but I got rearranged tonight. It is very unusual you play 2 teams or the same team twice in a week. Very, very strange.
Sorry, Michael, on you go.
And from our St Mirren, they're hoping for to hit people to hit Hearts in the break.
They will be, but I mean they've not really got a lot of pace going forward. I mean Curtis Main is okay, but he's not the quickest. I don't know if Jonah Ayunga will play tonight. He's a very good player. The team news isn't out yet. I think it'll be 20 minutes or half an hour or so keep an eye on that. But they don't have a lot of pace going forward, whereas I think Hearts do now. So it will. I think Greg's right. It'll be a stuffy game. Listen, if Greg's prediction comes true, we get a last minute penalty, I'll take it all day long. And we look to have lost Michael. So it's just me and Reagan. The dream team's here. So yeah, I mean Hearts at Mirren tonight. Reagan, I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, I'm a Hearts fan. You know that yourself. But what do you think of Hearts this season? Have you been impressed with them? Are you impressed with what they've done in the transfer window so far?
I'm impressed with what they did in the transfer market, Graham. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me right?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm impressed with what they've done in the transfer market. I mean, I'm surprised they got the guy from Newcastle.
So am I.
Because I thought he played well in the World Cup, and I thought when Newcastle signed, I thought it would be a regular feature on that first team.
To be honest, I'm surprised we signed Oda. I thought he'd have been at Celtic, given the fact you've got that Japanese connection there. But yeah, I'm delighted that we've got him. Really, really good. In terms of St Mirren, as I said, they're sitting sixth in the league. They've had a decent season. What have you made the Robinsons team so far this season? Do you like what they're doing so far?
I'm pleasantly surprised with them, Graham. I mean, if they're going to push for the top six, it would be great. It would be great. I don't know if it was when the first season when Tony Fitzpatrick wasn't there, considering over the past 2 or 3 seasons he's been kind of bumping his team to finish in the top 6. So, yep, I think it could be St Mirren's time, and they've been playing some good football this season. I like Barkis that plays up top for them.
He's a real. Do you think they will get top 6?
I'll say yes, because I did read a statistic that their home crowds are one of the best this season for a long while. Oh, Michael's at the bottom of the screen. Michael, how you doing?
Where he deserves to be, right at the bottom of the screen.
Right at the bottom of the table.
Can you hear us, Michael? Are you with us?
He's still there.
we're having a few technical issues. It's been fun, isn't it?
Don't you just love laptops and computers?
You hear me, guys?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Michael, it's a bit slow. I can't really hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
There you go. I think you're back to normal.
That'll be a change.
Yeah. Well, nobody said that to me before rigging back to normal, but there you go. That's nice. So,
Anyway, guys.
I think before I get cut off, I think we were talking about the Hearts and St Mirren game.
Yeah, so I was just saying about St Mirren, and Graham was asking me, do I think they'll get into the top 6? And I was saying this is probably the best chance I've had in a while, Michael. I mean, I think they're playing some good football. They've got Barkis up top, and I think they've got a really good chance. I'm going to see them all get top 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to see them all.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Reagan. I think St Mirren's looking good this season. If they keep that form up, and Stephen Robertson's got them playing well. Graham, when they come in, it took him a few games to turn it around, but he's built half of the whole Motherwell team there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at probably a few months ago, they got beat 4-1 by Aberdeen. And they didn't have a great League Cup run, and you thought this could be difficult for St Mirren, but they've done very well. You know, last week, as I said, they were very good against Hearts for the first half. They pressed us, they got in Snodgrass's face, didn't let him really dictate the game, and they have done very well. I really like Jonah Ayunga. I think he's a very good player, so they have done a very good job so far. And I think again tonight will be a difficult game. I do expect them to make it difficult for us, but I just think on that bigger pitch, with the quality we've got going forward, and now that we've added to that, I do think Hearts should be good enough to win this game, and we've got a far bigger squad. But I actually agree with Reagan. I think St Mirren will get top 6 this season. I am impressed with what they've done, and I think Robinson has done a very, very good job. I know there's maybe still some St Mirren fans that aren't overly impressed, but I think they've been excellent this season. But again, I looked at the league table, and again, they've only scored 22 goals this season. They don't score a lot of goals. I hope I'm not just jinxing myself for tonight, but they don't score a lot of goals. So, I mean, that maybe is something they need to try and rectify in January again. Again, Curtis Main. Main's a good player, but he's not really a clinical finisher. He's not the quickest, but I do think tonight's going to be a hard game. But I'm sticking with my 3-1 Hearts prediction tonight. I think Hearts will win tonight.
I'm just looking forward to texting Graham about 10:15, seeing St Mirren 5, Hearts 0 after they said St Mirren don't score that many goals.
I'm not answering if you text me.
You don't usually answer anyway, it's all right.
Reagan, Stephen Robert, Reagan, Stephen Robertson says that he cannot.
I think we're
cannot
having
wait
issues with Michael's
to,
laptop again here.
for the game tonight, and he's hoping.
So sorry, Michael, I can't hear you, mate.
Right, I think Michael's laptop's busted here. Oh no, it's back. Is he here? Have we got you, Michael?
I don't know what's happening, Michael. I couldn't hear you there.
I think Michael's got gremlins in his system. I hope it's just his system. Hello, Michael. Can you hear us? This is going well. Right, okay. I'm going to take over this because this is a shambles. So,
Yeah,
Reagan, in terms of St Mirren tonight, what are you expecting from them tonight? Do you think they'll make it difficult for Hearts? Do you think they can get a result tonight at Tynecastle? Please say no.
Well, they played actually quite well last week game. I don't know if you managed to see the game, but they played well.
I saw most of it, yeah.
They played well, and I'm thinking I'll watch the game tonight, Graham, because I think they've shown they're a really good team, and I think they can cause them problems. I think that is it Strain that plays up top as well.
Ryan Strain, yeah, good player.
Strain looks a good player, and is it Greg? Greg
Kilty.
Is it Kilty? Yep.
Yeah.
So Greg, he's a good player as well, and obviously they've got a lot of other good players as well. So I think they can cause problems tonight, Graham. But I hope for your sake that you can enjoy your night. And I see you've dressed up for the occasion with your wee Hearts jumper on there, mate.
It's not a Hearts jumper, it's got maroon in it. So
That's enough.
What's your prediction for tonight?
I'll go for Hearts 1, St Mirren 1.
Reagan, go for a Hearts win. Come on. That's fine.
It was one of these last week. I've been off for a few weeks, Graham, so I need to go on the fence. I've got splinters.
No, that's fine. That's your prediction. That's fine. But actually, we've not had you on for a few weeks. It's good to see you on, mate, because we do miss you when you're not on. I have to get you. That's all right, mate. I
bet you're glad I'm still alive and I'm still kicking. I mean,
oh, of course you're a good man, mate. But before Michael comes back on, eventually when he comes back on, I've got to get your thoughts on Celtic Kilmarnock tomorrow. Obviously, last week Celtic won by 2-0. Celtic deserve to win the game. There's no doubt about that. What's your thoughts for tomorrow? Do you think it'll be the same kind of game, or do you think Celtic will be very comfortable?
I'm looking forward to going to the game tomorrow. Being there to see it, Graham. I was there last week. Celtic had won by 6, by 7. They won by 2. I thought Kilmarnock were very stuffy, as you said earlier, with regards to St Mirren. But I think when you look at the whole the game overall, I think if Celtic play their game, I don't think anyone in Scotland can live with Celtic. Aberdeen, Hearts, Rangers, the better teams. I don't think they can live with Celtic, so it's going to be very difficult if Celtic show up. Thinking for Kilmarnock, it'll just be a case of try and keep it tight, try and keep it nothing each to half time. I think one of the better blows, what happened for Derek last week was Derek managed to get Kilmarnock nothing each 45 minutes, but when 45 minutes came, Celtic scored. So if we can hold on to half time, I think Derek will be happier. He'll be thinking, right, this is a chance for me to go and possibly bring on Lafferty. I know he's back available again tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see if he goes straight from the start, because you know that he'll be up for it because his record against Celtic and obviously playing for Rangers as well, so he knows what Celtic are like. So it's an intriguing game.
What's your prediction for tomorrow's game and Sunday's game?
Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2.
What about Aberdeen Rangers?
Aberdeen 0, Rangers 3.
So you think it is going to be a Celtic Rangers final? That's what I think as well, to be fair.
Yep, I just think since Michael Beale's come in, I know people thought it was Ian Beale for the Enders, but they've been a bit disappointed. But he's come in and done well. I mean, of course he got that I'll call it fluky 2 minutes at Aberdeen where they played awful for that game against Aberdeen. Aberdeen scored 2 great goals. First of all, the free kick from Duke, and then that superb finish from Clarkson to put them 2-1 up. But then Jim Goodwin did what Michael Beale did against Celtic, and he brought on a lot of the defenders and midfielders instead of trying to go for the attack, and Rangers done well. So I think Rangers will just be far too strong for them.
Yeah, still no team news from Hearts against St Mirren tonight. I think it'll be about another 10 minutes or so keep an eye on that. But I'm thinking and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that Michael is back with us now. We sorted his dodgy Wi-Fi out. He's not paid their bills again. Michael, are you back with us?
I think
No.
I've not paid the recce, Graham.
I know people are saying that.
Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's a bad thing, Graham.
I think there's still a bit of delay because I can see Michael talking before I hear his audio.
Michael, you still with us? So can you see us and hear us all right?
Yeah, no, I can see your two nice looking faces at the other end of
I don't know.
my call. It's making my computer worse, I think.
You blaming us for your dodgy Wi-Fi? Yeah, Graham. But in terms of the, obviously I've not been on for a few weeks, but what have you guys made of the talking points over the last few weeks? I mean, VAR's been an absolute mess, hasn't it, Graham?
Yeah, me and Michael have been doing a few shows about this. I just think, I mean, I know for me the biggest debate, and again, a lot of folk have mentioned this, is the handball rule, because I said last week, and Michael will say this as well. I said last week, because we were on the show last week, and I had the Dundee United Rangers game on in the background, and I said that was a penalty for the Goldson handball. It wasn't given. I just think the handball rule is an absolute farce. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what it should be. I know there's some kind of IFAB rule. And again, you guys will know this as Celtic fans. Apparently, I think Celtic have called a meeting with the SFA about the handball rule and stuff, which again, I do agree with, because I think it needs to get sorted out.
It needs to get done, because look at the one that Livingston got against Aberdeen a few weeks ago, where the Aberdeen guy can't move out of the way. The same with the Connor Golson, and then that one's given there, that Rangers one last week's not given.
I just think the thing for me is that these decisions, you're costing teams a lot of money, and it could cost teams getting promotion, or could cost teams not Celtic because they win the league, but it could cost teams top six. It could cost teams European football. It could cost teams relegation. That's where you've got to get these big decisions right. And I think the handball rule for me, and I've said this to Michael numerous times, the handball rule for me is the one that needs more clarity on it.
It definitely could. What did you make of the Connor Golson one, the one in the Old Firm game?
What I don't understand about that one is why John Beaton wasn't asked to go and look at the monitor.
Yep. Yeah, that's my problem.
That's what I don't understand, because some referees are going to the monitor, some referees aren't. Now, you've mentioned it earlier. You mentioned the fact that Hearts are getting a lot of penalties. And yeah, I mean, I think some of them have been. I think some of them haven't been. But again, I've been very consistent about this. The one that Celtic didn't get against Hearts for Michael Smith, that was a handball. So I think the referees need to go look at the monitor. Enough of them, and there's too many of them that aren't doing that. And I think the one against Connor Golson, I think, should have gone to the monitor. And I think a beat goes to the monitor to see some penalty. And that's my biggest beef, is the handball rule. And again, like I said to Michael as well, the other thing that I hate about VAR is how long it takes. It's taken far too long.
I think the big problem for me, Graham, was that they took virtually a minute and a half to check whether this was a penalty or not, right? But surely if they're taking that amount of time, they could have just went, right, John, we're going to give you this decision to take.
The thing is, we all know that VAR was brought in for clear and obvious errors. If you are taking 4 or 5 minutes to check a VAR decision, then that's not clear and obvious. You shouldn't need to take that long to sort this out. So yeah, I just think it's been a farce, and we'll probably do more shows during the show as well. But let's get on to the other games from this weekend. So tomorrow we have Hibs against Dundee United. Obviously, Hibs beat Motherwell last week. United were maybe a little bit unlucky not to beat Rangers. What's your thoughts on this game tomorrow at Easter Road?
I think Dundee United will win purely for the fact. Oh, Michael's went black. Purely for the fact that I've not been impressed with Lee Johnson's side that often, to be honest. As much as I would like to, because I think Nisbet is a very good player. One of the big problems that I think has been difficult, Graham, is that they've had a very difficult run of fixtures, because that's where we're misreading it. I mean, Hibs had Rangers to start off the break, then they played Aberdeen, then they played Hearts, and then they played Celtic. Then after they played Celtic, they went to Tynecastle. So it's very hard for us to judge because they're playing all these top teams one after the other.
How big a win was that last week against Motherwell Hibs? Because obviously Kevin Nisbet got a hat-trick, but defensively, I still don't think Hibs are that great, to be fair. How big a win was that for Lee Johnson last week? And again, on the back of that, how much pressure do you think Lee Johnson's under?
I think it buys him a little bit of time. In terms of Lee Johnson, I think it'll be imperative that he gets that win again tomorrow, because you don't want. It's okay losing to a great Celtic side and a decent Rangers when Hibs obviously went 2-1 on that game, didn't they, Graham? So
They did, Jeff. They did.
Of course, the fans could see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel with that game, and they could say, well, this could possibly be us turning the corner, but then they go and get beat at Tynecastle and then beat by Celtic quite convincingly. So for them tomorrow, it's imperative that they go and they win that game for me, but I don't think they will.
Michael, are you back with us? I don't know. I can't hear it. Michael, are you back with us?
No.
No. So in terms of Hibs, obviously, we spoke last week about the Hearts game against Hibs a couple of weeks ago. Now, I said last week, maybe it was being harsh, I don't know. But I said last week that I thought Lee Johnson chucked Will Fish and Harry McCurdy in at the deep end in that game.
Oh, I like that, Graham. Chucked the fish in the deep end. So.
Did you see? I just thought of that. I'm here all week. But I mean, Hibs, obviously, they have had a lot of problems. Ryan Porteous has been unavailable, but there has always been talk that Ryan Porteous might leave in this window. I mean, I've said, again, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to be biased on this show. I've always said that I think Ryan Porteous is very overrated. Do you think that Ryan Porteous will leave in this window, and how big a blow would that be for Hibs if they lost him?
I do. Have you heard the same talk as me, Graham? That he's going to go to Watford. He's going to go to Udinese.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
For the loan straight back to Watford. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Would that be a good move for Porteous to go to Italy?
I think it's important that he watches his Scotland teammates. Lewis Ferguson and Aaron Hickey have both went to Italy and excelled, and I'm sure that the first thing he did was went, right, Josh Doig was here last season. Josh Doig went to Serie A and he's excelling as well. So these guys are not stupid. As much as we go, Scottish football's great, we've got so many good stories. These guys are going to learn a new language, I don't know any Italian apart from
Ciao.
Aye. I was trying to think of a word there, but no, I don't know any Italian, so they'll obviously learn a new language, so a new lifestyle, a new brand of football, brand new training, brand new life, and it's probably a good thing. And obviously you get more money, more exposure. So I think it's probably the best thing for them. And I don't know what age Ryan Porteous is, Graham, but I'm sure he could come back and beat Hibs eventually.
I'm sure it probably could. Right, let's try again. Fingers crossed here. Michael, are you back with us? I can see him, but I can't hear him.
Poor Michael, hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm having a nightmare tonight, mate. I'm having a nightmare. Can we start the show again?
I will go back in time and start again.
Yeah,
It's
hopefully
only-
I'm back now.
It's only 10 to 5, Michael. It's fine.
Yeah, no, we're getting 10 to 4 today. Okay, so can you hear me? Yeah, I think there's a bit of a delay on the line, but I'm not entirely sure. But hopefully,
Who
who
said that?
But
who
if
said
it goes
that?
again, I'll leave you. Yeah. No, don't. If it goes again, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Dunn. Yours tonight, Glenn.
I'm in the mood tonight. Like, I'm excited for the Hearts game, but that might change if we get beat.
You're in the mood for dancing, maybe? I don't know.
I wouldn't go that far.
yeah.
I can't sing like
y-
the ones.
Graham, that I heard your question before get cut off about the 15 tonight about Lee Johnson. I think it is a big game from tomorrow, but I think an even bigger game next week in the Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, listen, tomorrow's game will take care of itself. And from what I've seen, and I don't know if this is true, but from what I've seen, Hibs have not sold a lot of tickets for that game next week. Now, no, they've not. There's a lot of stands still available. Now, I get that Hibs haven't been great.
I took it myself.
Honestly, I get that Hibs have not been great. I get that there's a lot of difficulties behind the scenes, but it's a derby game. It's a cup game at home. Hearts would sell that out. Absolutely no doubt Hearts would sell that out. So, yeah, I think Johnson's under pressure. I think last week has got a bit of pressure off his back. And again, Kevin Nisbet scoring that hat-trick was great, but I do think he's still under a little bit of pressure. He needs to keep winning. I think at home tomorrow, I would expect him to beat United, but it'll be a difficult game. And again, they'll have Stephen Fletcher coming back to Easter Road. He'll have a point to prove. So it'll be a difficult game, but I think Johnson is under massive pressure. I know a lot of Hibs fans are still not massively impressed by Lee Johnson, which I get. He's not been particularly great. But last week's taken a bit of pressure off him. But I do agree. I think next week will be a huge game. If Lee Johnson loses that on the back of losing the derby last week or the week before, I think a lot of Hibs fans will want him sacked. I really do.
Yeah, because as we know, Graham, modern day football can be a bit silly, but especially with social media, because there's quite a lot of comments that fly around. As everybody went,
And as for
there we go.
the team news for the game for Hibs, Jake Doyle Hayes is back in the squad, and Lewis Miller is back in the squad as well. Lee Johnson said Dundee United is a good team. We're in the mood. We're in a good mood this week after last week's win. Not a good performance, he said, but a great win. Now we are looking forward and we're focused on the game tomorrow in front of our own fans, Reagan.
Yeah, I think I said to Graham before, I think it's important that they build in last week and they try and see if they can build on what they did last week, because there's no point being a one-trick pony and just doing it one week and then being missing for the next 5 or 6, you know. So I think the Hibs fans are looking for a bit of back-to-back wins and try and build on it, like Graham says there. If he gets that back-to-back wins and goes into that derby game, then it'll be a bit of a feel-good factor for them.
Yeah, and do you think that it's important for Hibs to be at home tomorrow to build in that win last week that they got out Motherwell.
Yeah, I think in terms of that win in Motherwell, I think it can be psychologically very important.
Yeah, so do you think it's important that performance that they put in against Motherwell all around?
Sorry, Michael, it's very difficult to hear you, mate. I don't know if Graham's available. Hi, Graham, are you there, mate? It's difficult to hear Michael, he's away. Hi, Graham, are you there?
I think they're having one or two technical issues here.
It's just...
Hello?
Sorry, Graham, I can hear you now. It was just, I couldn't hear Michael. It was kind of breaking up there when we were talking away there.
Do down, breaking up is hard to do.
So will me and you just keep talking around then?
All right, let's go for it. So Dundee United tonight, again, I thought they were okay against Rangers last week. Maybe deserved at least something out of that game. What have you made of Liam Fox's side so far this season?
I think they've been okay. I mean, I think it was a difficult start because there's a very reputation to fall on because obviously last season, Tam Courts was part of that team that done so well, and I think when you look at obviously when you look at Tam Courts, I think it's a difficult act to follow because I don't know about you, Graham, but I don't really remember a Dundee United side getting into Europe that much, and for Tam Courts to do that in his first season in management was a very, very good achievement.
Yeah, I do agree. I think, Tom Courts was actually a very good coach. I think he did a really good job. And I think, again, they brought Jack Ross in. It didn't really work. They had that horrendous 9-0 defeat to Celtic. They bring in Liam Fox. And I'll be honest, at the time, Liam Fox is a good coach, but I didn't know if he would manage United. And he's done okay so far. They're sitting 11th. Maybe not been great, but I do see signs under Fox that he's trying to change the way they play. And again, as I said, I thought last week for spells in that game, especially the first half, they were very impressive. And I think the signing of Stephen Fletcher has been very inspired. He's got a lot of experience. I like Glenn Middleton. I think at the back, they're maybe not great defensively, but I do think they are showing signs of recovery. And I think tomorrow is going to be a big, big game for them. If they can pick up 3 points at Easter Road, that will be a huge, huge win for them.
Yeah, especially because Ross County as well, Graham, because if you look at that table like people do, I think it's only 3 points between the teams. So if you look at that, tomorrow would psychologically put Ross County under a bit of pressure that they know, right, we are banging trouble here.
So I can give you the Hearts team for tonight. So I'm just going to do it the way that the Hearts have put it out here. So Xander Clark, they've got Michael Smith, Lauren Strickland, Kyle Rowles, Andy Halliday, Barry Mackay, Alec Cochrane, Toby Sibic, Josh Ginnelly, a debut for James Hill, surprisingly, and Robert Snodgrass. And on the bench for Hearts, it's Ross Stewart, George Grant, Orestes Kilmert-Soglu, Nathaniel Atkinson, Cammy Devlin, Alan Forrest, Stephen Humphreys, and yes, they are there. Garan Quall and Yokoro Oga are both on the bench. So the new boys are on the bench for Hearts tonight.
That's interesting. I've got a question for you, Graham, because I think this question, right, and I want to ask you this because I think it has actually happened. Do you think Ange Postecoglou has found a brand new market for Scottish teams to go into? Because for me, right, when you look at Japan, right, of course we see them being like really cheap, really good value. But that is also one aspect, right? But see, one key aspect for me, Graham, they're really, really good technically, and they're really, really quick and really agile as well.
Yeah, I've said before that I think the Asian market's a great market to go down, and I think you can clearly see that from what's happened to Celtic. You know, they brought in guys. I mean, I know Ideguchi's not played very many games, but I think the likes of Kyogo, you brought in Maeda, Hatate, who's been hit the ground running. I think it's a great market, and I've said this to Michael as well. It's a market I'd like to see Hearts use a lot more. And now we've managed to bring in Oda, who looks, again, YouTube highlights are not great, but I think Oda looks a very good player. So I think the Asian market is something that Scottish teams should use more often. You know, technically they're very good, they're very quick, they're really good players. And again, you look at Japan in the World Cup, Japan were brilliant. They were in a very difficult group. And I thought Japan were fantastic, one of the highlights of the tournament for me. So I think the Asian market is very impressive. And I know that Hearts have used the Australian market really well, obviously bringing in Kyle Rowlands, they brought in this now young guy, Qual, we brought in Devlin, we brought in Atkinson. They are very, very good markets. You know, you don't just have to look at Scotland or England, you know, scout a bit further afield, and I think it's great. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you think Ange Postecoglou has been that trailblazer in terms of showing that market's got really good value?
Yeah, I think so. I think he absolutely has. And, you know, it's very difficult when you take somebody from Japan or any other league to hit the ground running. It can take time. But in terms of Celtic, you know, these players have done that. Again, Ideguchi hasn't played a lot of games for Celtic, but the other guys have. And I think it's a very good market. And I think, to be fair to Postecoglou, he's done a very good job with these guys. When you come to Celtic, it is difficult. You know, it's a massive, massive club. You've got to win things. And these guys are born to that. You know, Kyogo this season, even though I don't think Kyogo for me hasn't been at his sparkling best this season, but he still scored 15, 16 goals. So it's a very good market. I honestly think I would like to see Hearts using that market a lot more than we do.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about YouTube clubs here, Graham. I mean, I suppose I look good in YouTube, but in reality, YouTube clubs can be a bit disappointing. But, like, do you think that the recruitment of Joe Savage needs to be applauded? Because you look at, you've spoken about this on a number of shows. We did it throughout the summer last season. Remember, we spoke about Ron Gordon employing his son, and we said that's not how you recruit people. But I think when you see what Joe Savage, what Hearts have done, obviously we're talking about YouTube clips here, Graham, but like, it just shows you that a lot of what they've done is put in hard behind the scenes, is looking at footage of players and seeing who fits into Robbie's team. And obviously they're putting full trust in Robbie and in Lee McCulloch as well.
It's funny, I mentioned this on Twitter a few days ago. I think of all the signings that Hearts have made, I think Joe Savage has been the best. His recruitment, his eye for a player has been phenomenal. I mean, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember what day, potentially Tuesday. James Hill was never even in my thoughts. I didn't know who he was. He was mentioned on Tuesday morning by Barry Anderson, and then on that night he signed. I think that's brilliant from Hearts. The recruitment has been fantastic. Again, I haven't seen these players play, so I can't judge them yet. But I love the fact that Hearts are doing things quietly. You know, there's nothing getting leaked. There's nothing coming out of the press. I think it's great. And I think Joe Savage has been fantastic. And I've heard him on a few Hearts podcasts. Savage has been brilliant. He talks very well about the club. He's very passionate about what he does. And again, I've not been shy on the show about having a go at Robbie Neilson in the past, but he's done a fantastic job. He really has. He's been probably our best manager for a long time. He's been in a couple of cup finals. He needs to win something, I think. Last season was great, but that Rangers final was a massive letdown. I thought we didn't do enough in that final. But I think Robbie Neilson and Joe Savage have been fantastic so far. I know, and I've said this again on the show, there are still Hearts fans that are not happy about Robbie Neilson. And listen, I get it. Sometimes his football isn't great. Obviously, the games against Celtic and Rangers have not been great. But I think in what he's done, I think it's been very impressive. And Joe Savage has been fantastic. They could have easily sacked Robbie Neilson after the Bro Rangers game, and I'd have backed that 100%. But I think he's been fantastic. They both have, and I think Savage has been fantastic.
One of the bad marks in the coffee book Graham, is the fact that they basically obviously there was protests, like you said, and also that Robbie Nielsen got put out of this year's Viaplay Cup by tomorrow's semi-finalists. Do you think that possibly goes against them? And is it a little bit bittersweet that you're watching Derek McInnes' side in the semi-final tomorrow and thinking that could have possibly been us because we had a home tie against Derek McInnes' side?
Yeah, that is a bit of a black mark, to be honest. I mean, I said this to Michael before he came on the show. The fact that Kilmarnock are in the semi-final, having only scored 20 goals in the league this season, and they knocked Hearts out. Again, Hearts dominated that game, but couldn't score. And fair play to Kilmarnock, they took their chance. But yeah, seeing Kilmarnock in a semi-final is disappointing. I think Robbie Nielsen needs to win a trophy for me. He's been in a couple of finals recently and not won them. Now, listen, you're against Celtic and Rangers, you're going to have a hard time, but I think he needs to win something for me as a manager. But I think he's done well. You know,
Yep.
he came back in and he's got us to finals. His record against Hibs wasn't great. He's changed that now. He's pretty much winning every game now. Hopefully next week will be the same. But he's done a very good job. You know, I can't be critical. Some Hearts fans still are, but I can't be critical of what he's done so far. He's done a very good job, and the signings for me have been fantastic. You know, Stephen Humphreys again. He came in a wee while ago, and a lot of Hearts fans weren't convinced, but Humphreys has been great. I think the signings we've made have been fantastic, and I hope that tonight, I'm delighted the fact that James Hill's starting. I don't think he would, but the fact that we've got two new signings on the bench is brilliant. I'm trying to get the St Mirren team up actually here. Give me to find the St Mirren team if I can find it. Give me 2 seconds and I'll bring the St Mirren team up for tonight. Obviously, they'll have a suspension because Marcus Fraser was sent off last week for his ridiculous challenge on George Grant. I don't know what he was trying to do with that. So the St Mirren team, and again, I'll read that out the way I've got it here. So they have Carthen in goal, then it's Gallagher, Shaughnessy, Taylor, Flynn, Bacchus, O'Hara, Gogic, Tanzer, Grieve, and Main. On the bench for St Mirren is Urminski, Campbell, Kenny, Reid, Taylor, Kilty, Olusanya, Brophy, and Ayunga. So that's the St Mirren team for tonight. Let's move on to the other games that are from tomorrow. I don't know if Reagan's still here or not.
Yeah, I'm still here.
You're still here, that's fine. I just can't see you. So we've got Motherwell against Ross County. Obviously, Motherwell got beat last week against Hibs at home. Ross County defeated by Livingston. Let's talk about Motherwell first. What do you think of Stevie Hamill's side so far?
This is what I said when he was appointed. You know, I said, great appointment. It brings the fans in. But will I get the job done? Not for me. You know.
Do you think Motherwell... I've actually said this to Michael as well. Do you think Motherwell are too reliant on Van Veen?
Yep, I said that. And unless Van Veen is in a good vein of form, then you're struggling. I was surprised, Graham, that they brought up the King, as they call him in Motherwell, in these parts, Louis Moult, and then he didn't play him much. I think I'm interested for Stevie that Alan Burrows has resigned in the same week as the transfer window is about to slam shut. I'm just a little bit confused because remember when in the summer when Snodgrass was linked with Motherwell, and I was thinking, is he going to go there? So I'm just a little bit surprised because I've been listening to you guys in different forums, and a lot of Motherwell fans are phoning in saying like they need centre backs and they need strikers and midfielders, and this is fans phoning in. So surely, if you're Motherwell director of football, I don't know who it is, Graham, but if you are the director of football operation there, you should be clearly identifying that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Alan. I'm glad you brought up Alan Burrows because that was a surprise to me. You know, he's been the chief executive since 2014. He's very active on Twitter. I've heard him again in a few different shows. He's a very, very likable guy. He comes across very well. And I think a lot of Motherwell fans, and you're right, a lot of Motherwell fans are very, very surprised that he's left. Do you think there's something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of?
Yeah, one honest opinion, yep, I do. because there's something about Motherwell that really phases me, because I'm starting to think, right, well, was Alexander the problem, or was it the boardroom? The fact that he wasn't getting many players in, because this is a Motherwell side that's not won at home for a very long time. Now, of course, one of the things I want to say to Alan Burrows, and I actually think this, I don't you think, but I think he's probably the best CEO in Scotland for the past.
Yeah, I
Time.
can't disagree with that. I think he's been fantastic for Motherwell. He just seems a very he's a kind of guy you like to go to the pub with and have a few pints with. He's just a very likable guy.
Yeah, and I think it's important to touch on some of the stuff that he did. So, for pensioners, they got a free season ticket. Like, people that couldn't afford to pay into the game, they got a free season ticket. You also gave people free meals during lockdown to come in and see the club. Also, the mental health stuff as well. Gives all that mental health stuff they did at Motherwell as well. And obviously, during the cost of living, he put on his Twitter and also Motherwell Twitter saying if anybody wanted to come in and watch the TV or use the computer or have to, I think it was soup as well and food. So I think stuff like that where he's engaging the fans, he's saying we feel as if you're a valued member. Like, we understand how difficult these things are, and because I think, like, if you're at a top club like Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, you don't really hear the chairman like doing things back into the clubs. But I always like it when you see a Ayr United, a Motherwell, a Kilmarnock, all these clubs that value their community, that have community trust. Of course, Celtic and Rangers have that in place. But what I'm trying to say is, on that smaller scale, I think when the fans see the players interacting with them, or they see that everybody's there, they've got a real buy-in.
Yeah, I mean, we've got probably about 2.5 weeks left of the transfer window. How big a window is this going to be for Stevie Hamill? Because they really lack quality going forward.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult one to manage, because I've never been a director of football, right, Graham? But I think the planning surely goes on way before January. I don't think it comes to January and they go, let's just like close our eyes and hope for the best. So I think if they're leaving it this late, it just kind of, I don't know. Like, see the way that Celtic and Hearts have done their business, where like Celtic got their guys in the first day of the window. Ange already knows that month in advance. And the same with Hearts, right? That Australian guy went to the World Cup knowing he was going to Hearts. I'm sure of it. You know, because
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think in terms of tomorrow's game, because we're about 8 minutes left of the show, we're still got another one game to go. But in terms of tomorrow, you spoke earlier on about the fact that Motherwell's home record is really poor. Surely, at home, our Ross County team that's only scored 14 goals this season. If you're a Motherwell fan, you've got to be thinking you're taking 3 points from this game, surely.
yeah, I think you do, but you also worry as well with the inexperience of Stevie Hamill. And I was listening to Stephen, who's a big Motherwell fan, who goes on to all the phone-ins and stuff. And Stephen was saying that basically they're missing someone in the middle of the park that can take a game by the scruff of the neck. And I think in these relegation battles, these are the kind of players that you need. And I don't know if Motherwell have got that. You know, that way they had Donnelly and Campbell and people like that. Don't know if we've got like someone that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and sort things out. So I'm really struggling to see where the goals are coming from too. Obviously McKinstry is one that I could hang my hat on, but I think if you're Ross County, I think you can smell blood a wee bit.
Well, talking about teams that don't score a lot of goals, where are the goals coming from, Reagan? Ross Kent, I've just mentioned, have only scored 14 goals this season. I've seen the highlights of the game last week against Livingston, and they, for long spells in that game, they were the better side. And David Martindale said it last week. Moments and games change games. Ross County do not score goals, and that's got to be a massive worry for Malky Mackay.
Yep, I think that's why you see Rangers and Celtic dominate in Scotland, because see when they score early, that then puts fear into the opposition, or they've scored early. But in terms of Ross County and Motherwell, I mean, Ross County is imperative that they get that first goal tomorrow. Do you not agree, Graham? Because if they go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, I just can't see them recovering.
I said to Michael last week, and it's not going to be, it's pretty obvious as well. I think Ross County are in massive trouble this season. Do you think they're going to go straight down?
I hope not, but I think they will. But I hope Roy McGregor has faith in Malcolm Mackay, because this is Malcolm Mackay that almost got Ross County into Europe last season.
I know, but it sounds crazy. But again, they really miss Joseph Hungbo and Regan Charles Cook. They've not really replaced them.
Nobody will replace them, and that's credit to Malky for bringing the win last year. I do remember, Graham, I was on here every week last year, and Regan Charles Cook was my favourite player to watch last season.
That's just because it was called Regan. That's the only reason you liked him.
Now, no comment, but no, but it was a really good, exciting player to watch, and I think if you're Malcolm Mackay, you'll be banking that he can use his contacts during this window. I know they signed a player from Hibs. Is that right? Hibs today.
They have, yeah, they have.
So Malcolm Mackay will hoping to use his contacts. I don't know if we're scheduled to talk about this game, but I want to talk about Queen's Park for a second.
Well, just very quick before we do, St Johnstone Livingston tomorrow. Again, St Johnstone obviously got beat last week against Aberdeen. They weren't great. Livingston again. Livingston do what they do. David Martindale's a great manager. I've said this before. What do you think of this game tomorrow? Is this a potential? Do you think it'll be a dull game, or do you think it'll be quite entertaining at McDermott Park tomorrow?
I don't know if Marvin Bartley leaving could have a little bit of an impact on them.
Fair point, yeah.
Because I listened to David Martindale, who said that Marvin Bartley is the keyhole between David Martindale and the players. So David Martindale doesn't really. I don't mean he doesn't keep many friends, but he doesn't like shook up to the players. And I think Marvin Bartley was that guy that kind of relates to the players and kind of can have a laugh and a joke, but then get serious with them. So I don't know.
They have appointed Christoph Berra as first team coach, I noticed as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Because he's got experience at Ray Fogels as well.
Yeah.
Christoph, he's a good guy. So I think that could be a good move, but I think it's St Johnstone at home tomorrow.
They are, yeah, at McDermott Park, yep.
I'm going to go St Johnstone 2, Livingston 1.
Yeah, I think that might be a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. So we've got about a minute and a half left. Let's say, I said this to Michael last week, I hope that Queen's Park come up. I think they do things the right way. Go on, Regan, what do you think about Queen's Park?
Yep, I know a lot of people are scared of spiders, but I think the spiders are going to do it as well, Graham. Are they 4 points clear now?
They are, yeah.
Of Dundee. So I think things are unraveling at Dundee. Did they not loan back the player that's been doing well so far this season?
They got beat 4-2 by Arbroath a couple of weeks ago as well at home.
Yes, so I think Queen's Park, Owen Coyle and Leanne Dempster will be a Premiership side, and that would be incredible.
Just very, very quickly, we're running out of time. Do you think it would be an embarrassment if Queen's Park come up? Because I've heard a few folks saying it would be an embarrassment. I don't agree with that.
No, but do you mean in terms of the Gretna thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No, because I think Queen's Park are stable. I don't think I don't care to know about Queen's Park Financial. I don't speak to them, but I don't think they're in the same kind of precarious position. Do you know?
Yeah, 100%. Well, we are running out of time. Thank you very much to Michael, who is now decided to come back when the show's ending. Short corner. Thank you to Reagan for joining us. Thank you to Greg Playfair for joining us as well earlier on. It's great to have you back on, Reagan. I am back tomorrow with Alan Morrison at 7:30 to talk about Celtic Kilmarnock. We are also back on Sunday at 5 o'clock. Hopefully, if Michael gets his internet sorted, he'll be hosting at 5 o'clock because this has been an absolute horrendous nightmare tonight. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are also back next Friday at 5 o'clock till 7. I hope you have a great weekend. And come on, the Jambos! See you later.
Happy New Year.